Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
All right, welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast.
Kevin's eyes look insane, but he's got new hair. Virginia is a witch, and she farts in her chair. Jason is a spaz who's got an old man's ass. Welcome to the After the Show podcast.
Here we go. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast. Good to have you here. If you're a newbie, welcome. No, we always think everybody knows about this thing, but not everybody does. Even diehard KVJ listeners should be like, wait, you guys do a podcast? Yeah.
Yeah, and we can say whatever we want because, you know, podcasting is not controlled by the FCC, so suck it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, FCC, if you're listening, our co-host said suck it.
This is free, baby. This is the Wild Wild West.
You're right. FCC, they ain't fucking around with no podcast.
No,
They're
they
too busy trying to
don't care.
bring down other people.
Yeah, say whatever you want to say. That's the way it goes. That's the beautiful thing about digital audio.
Wouldn't you say you like doing the After the Show podcast better than terrestrial, the regular show?
Yeah, because I don't like having to think about it. And then, look, you even listen to this thing, and I'm not a person that swears nonstop and all the time.
That's me.
But, yeah, to not have to worry about it and not think, and, yeah, it's nice that you don't ever have to draw in. It's, we're at a point now where it's good to have adult discussions.
It is.
I'm just not one of those people. Some people are great. My wife is great with kids. She can talk to kids and be entertained with kids. And I don't have, that's why I love teachers and I respect them so much. I don't have that skill. So I don't want to have kid conversations. It's harder for me. I struggle through it.
I'm over here at the grown-ups table.
Yeah, that's
Let's
it.
get drunk and talk about grown-up shit.
Right, that's it.
Not to say you can't talk about kid topics, but it's nice to be able to talk like an adult about whatever you're fucking talking about.
Exactly, yeah. And then when we're on the radio, you always have to think. It's kind of like, imagine if you went out to the bar and your buddy brought his young kids and they're sitting there. That's what doing a regular radio show to me is like.
Like how I bring my kids to the bar?
Well, I told Virginia during the holiday break, we're going to be doing the Bitch and the Witch podcast.
Yeah.
I would love to do a podcast with you too, Kev, if you can. But I said, if we're going to do that, we really can't have Rocco there. If you're going to be there, if you want to drink and have Panda there drinking and we relax, to be adults, to make that good again, we can't have any kids there.
Yeah, Panda is the good parent. He won't drink if Rocco is around.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I will. So Panda's the one you got to get to leave Rocco at home.
Yeah.
I've heard people that come from your parts. You all defend drinking. It's your culture.
I grew up. I learned how to pour draft beer when I was in first grade at the St. Anthony Parish Fair. I worked the draft beer booth as a first grader. So picture Rocco pouring a perfect beer with just a tiny little amount of head on top and really crafting that draft beer. That's where I got my training.
Okay, yeah. So it's been something that you've been around. A lot of cultures and societies are like that. There are different parts where you go to, and their attitudes on drinking are different. They've even done that. They've broken it down. If you go to Wisconsin, they love to drink. You go to a Boston, that's a drinking town. Chicago is a drinking town, and you come together and you sit around a bar, you have drinks, you tell stories, you crack on each other. To me, that's my favorite thing in life. I love that.
You really have the culture in your blood because you're not just about drinking. She don't just go to bars. Everything Virginia does is about an event. It's an experience.
A party.
If she's cooking, she's not just cooking. There's music on. There's drinks flowing.
It's only part of it.
Yeah, that's the culture,
Yeah.
I think, that, a lot of people don't get if you didn't grow up in there.
It's a vibe, it's a mood, it's a whole thing. But I encourage everybody to maybe have a few little sips, put on some music, and enjoy life more.
There is nothing. I love cooking at home, putting music on, and having some drinks.
And have some people over.
It's so much fun.
It's the best.
Good times. Good times. I assume we'll probably have a couple cocktails flowing here on a Friday.
You're going to probably see me start to really go to the dark side probably tomorrow. Because it's Thursday.
No, okay.
It's holiday.
I have a little nip here or there.
I think I'm going to have a couple nips.
Okay. It's getting ready.
I've been putting Kahlua in my coffee every day this week.
You've been drinking on the air?
I have. You saw me do it. You saw me.
I didn't think you were serious.
I wasn't trying to keep it a secret. I said, I fucking need this.
You were serious about that.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
Every day this week.
What'd you need it for? Is it for stress? Is it to stay awake?
No, I just needed to calm down a little bit. You know, like.
So you were calm this week.
I don't know. It just gives me a little.
Put more in there then.
Gives you a little what?
I almost finished the bottle. I need to get a new bottle.
That's fucking insane to me.
That was a full bottle on Monday.
Wow. So much you knocked down this week?
Could you feel it?
If you see me sipping coffee, it ain't just coffee.
Could you feel it working?
Yes. The first dirt of the day, I was so happy.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go back now and listen to the audio and hear how jacked up you are in the
Bitch,
dirt.
I told you. I said, I am pouring Kahlua in my coffee this week.
Which I thought you were joking.
No, bitch, I was serious.
I'm not judging you.
Okay.
I think it's hilarious over here. I drink all the time on the air.
I wasn't trying to keep no secrets.
I didn't think you were. I really didn't think you were trying to keep it a secret. I thought you were kidding. I think it's hilarious.
I'll do it again tomorrow, too, if I don't empty that bottle.
Why are you going after it? I like it.
Do you hear that often?
What?
Where one of the co-hosts says, yeah, I've been drinking all through the show.
All week.
No, yeah, you know what?
Kevin didn't know.
Oddly enough, I don't. And oddly enough, it is odd to me that at least now, when I first got into radio, there were a lot of deranged people. And I was like, yes, this is great, because I feel a little deranged myself. And I'm like, this is where I fit. And for some reason, and then as soon after I got into it, radio became corporate and homogenized. And so many of the people I know in radio now are just square and boring. I'm like, why are you on the radio? You could either be an accountant or do this.
Yeah,
it's odd to me, because to me, radio is meant for very colorful, exotic,
yes,
misfit kind of people that are a little off of the beaten path. That to me is who belongs in radio.
If you call me exotic, I consider that a compliment.
You know, it's weird because I remember the first year I got on the show was 2004, and we did some crazy stuff. But even then, I could tell there were roadblocks trying to always, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I just saw year by year, it kept on getting worse and worse. And you're right, terrestrial radio is very corporate. It's very play it by the, don't get too crazy. It was a little bit more deranged when we were younger, and you got credit for that.
Yeah, you did. And now radio is very corporate. Everything is about sponsorships now. And so all of these big radio companies now, radio's just, I don't even know what it is. I don't even recognize it anymore. I don't know what radio is. It's really just a big marketing vehicle. And you'll see, for instance, and it was a great concert a couple weeks ago, the Odyssey Beach Festival, or whatever the hell they call that. You know, Odyssey is a radio company that has changed their name, but they just did a big deal with Hard Rock Cafe, where they're going to be doing a lot of live events. And so it really is nothing but it was a big concert to promote hard rock and all those kind of things. And that's all fine and good. That's the way the world goes around. But yeah, your Odyssey and your iHeartRadio and things like that, that's pretty much what it is. And iHeart is all about partnerships with record labels and soda companies and things of the such. And yeah, there are people who are on there. It's more, they now favor a Seacrest, a Ryan Seacrest. We don't want a loose cannon. We don't want a very colorful guy. We want somebody that looks like a Ken doll that can go up there and say whatever the corporate, terminology is, nail it, and then move on.
We're quite fortunate because there are shows out there, depending on the company you work with, they'll tell you, we want you to do this kind of bit, we want you to do this.
Sure,
I mean, in Miami, we experienced that. They were forcing bits down our throats that we didn't want to do, but because everyone in the company did it, it worked once, so fuck. Let's do the shit ton out of it.
You couldn't fight the power anymore. There wasn't any more fun rogue stuff.
Jay Bird, this bit crushes in Seattle. It's going to work in Miami. Shut the fuck up. Don't question it. Yeah, but this bit sucks.
Well, a lot of them, they got into, especially when we were making the move to Miami, a lot of it was homogenized, where they would take the same bits and they would try to get all shows to do it. The War of the Roses and Second Date updates and all those kind of things. And I just wasn't really buying into it. I like doing our own bits. Most of our big bits is stuff that, we've come up with, and it's unique to the show. I mean, how many other shows have a guy that knows when you're high? That's,
right. And he's really good at it.
Yeah, he's really good at it. So to me, I would rather do segments that are based around the colorful nature of the show rather than doing something anybody else can do. And that's kind of where they are. And now the big companies, I'd even seen with iHeart now, they are basically going through and they're firing everybody. And they're going to have, they're selling, in fact, here in town, they're selling the building that they have. And they're going to have a new building that's real small. It'll have 5 studios in it, but there'll be majority of them will be about the size of a closet.
Wow.
And then they'll have one that'll be a little bit bigger, but they're going to be pumping in all of their talent from
other markets.
Either it'll be Miami, New York, Cleveland, someplace like that, Chicago, a bigger city. And so you're not going to have that kind of local flair. You're not going to have them talking about a Steve Weagle or local landmarks,
a pizza
and things
joint
like
down
that.
the street.
Yeah. And so it is, like I said, I don't recognize radio now. And the shows who still have a little bit of personality and color to them, a little bit of fire and pep, they're pretty much older like us.
Dave Ryan.
Yeah. Who that?
You don't have any new kids that they're letting them loose.
Who that younger radio show is that is cutting it up and doing the really revolutionary, eye-opening bits. I don't know who they are.
You're not going to see it. Not with corporate radio, you're not.
No, and if they're doing anything, it's all that stuff now happens on TikTok and YouTube and on a podcast, and that's where that's doing it. And if we were getting into the game now, I don't know that we'd be getting into radio. We probably would be like
getting into podcasts.
Yeah, we'd be going more into the podcast, social media world. We'd be making those kind of videos, and maybe we'd have a podcast on the side.
And people always ask too, why don't you guys do those crazy stunts anymore? And it's because all these YouTubers, what happened? I've heard YouTubers talk about this on podcasts. What usually happens is these kids on the internet or these people on the internet, no one knows who they are, so they start doing all this crazy shit. They have no money no one's suing them. Then what happens is they start getting a following, they start getting money, they start getting sponsors. Now there's something to go after. Now they can't do all the crazy shit anymore. They start to fake the crazy shit. And they all talk about it.
It's so faked. Like all those wacky on the street stunts you see anybody with a big name doing, they're all faked now.
Too many have been busted and it's all about the money, and they get into a problem where the content they were creating is just they can't do it anymore.
We can't do it anymore.
They're too big now, and they don't want to lose their money, so now they still need content, but they have to now manipulate the content.
We can't do any of the shit we used to do 15 years ago.
Well, because they know Hubbard's got money.
Right, and
Our
they'll
company
sue.
has money.
Everybody will sue Hubbard if we are out and about and we do something that either scares somebody or makes them feel like they're in danger.
Well, and what I talked about earlier with the big radio companies, they're all about relationships now and partnerships that are corporate. And the problem with that is now that they're basing more of their economy on these partnerships, if you have a rogue show that goes out and does a dumb bit that pisses off McDonald's or something like that, now you're losing not just an advertiser, but you're losing one of your core partners that is really, so it's more important than ever. And that's maybe the number one rule. You're not as concerned. It's not necessarily an FCC thing now. It's like, do not do anything that pisses off our sponsors, because this is where our money is coming from.
And that was part of what I was listening to on this podcast, how you hear some of these people, they go, their first couple years are so intense and so extreme, and then their content starts to kind of reel in, and they explain why, and it's to your point.
Yeah, and you know, part of that too, we were 25 years old when we were doing some of that stuff.
Yeah, I'd still be doing
about double the age.
My age has nothing to do with it. I'd be out there doing it right now.
Yeah, I'm just as immature.
Yeah, I'm scared because I've been not threatened, but I've had bosses tell me, you can't get us sued, blah blah blah, and we've already gotten sued before, or we've gotten the company sued before
a few times.
So yeah, you don't want to. I don't want to fuck it up for y'all either. I would feel terrible if I did something stupid and then trying to be funny on the show, and then we are in this big thing where we get sued.
Yeah.
I would feel terrible.
So that's, kind of the way it is. And so, yeah, there might be a future down the road, and hopefully I'd love to see it, where one day KVJ is just a podcast, and then we can do whatever we want, within certain means. And I'm sure we'll have to be in the partnership world and realm as well, but there's still a lot of really crazy, edgy things that we can do that are like what we did in the day, and we still do to some extent. That's just, you can't do it that way because, and we found out through trial and error that, it's not about being edgy, it's about you just did dumb shit.
The difference too is if you have your own podcast, you seek out sponsors that are going to get your act. When you work in radio, a lot of times things are, for lack of a better term, thrown down your throat.
Right.
And you have to help the company,
Yeah.
But like, say, this podcast, for instance, sponsored by Atoll Vodka. If they came with us to go sponsor, they would not care. They would not be like a McDonald's.
They would not.
They are awesome. They're local. They're edgy. They get it.
They understand our show.
They understand our show. They're fans of the irreverence. And so Atoll Vodka is a perfect example of how we can go forward and still get sponsors, but not be able to be like, cowtailing to a mainstream sponsor like a big, huge corporation.
Well, I remember back at our old station, they pitched this endorsement for me, and I did it. And it was for this restaurant, but they didn't listen to the show. They just knew, hey, we've got this guy, he loves restaurants, food, blah, blah, blah. So they just kind of blindly went about, they listened to our show, and you can't say that. They can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you got to know your show. Know who you're getting in business with.
Well, that is part of the problem, and it all does tie in together. You talk, with the cancel culture and things like that, where people do boycotts against sponsors. And these bigger sponsors that have the bigger pocketbooks that actually can fund and pay your salaries, they are more susceptible to these kind of threats that get going on social media, and they cower to them a lot more. And that is the dangerous part of it, because as that does come in and that's a part of it, you'll have to be a lot more careful with your content, because people now realize just the voice of one can get two or three others involved, and we can be loud enough that we can control the content that's created on this show by attacking the sponsors. And that's how it all comes around. And so what will the future be? That's why it would be nice to be independently wealthy and have that kind of fuck you money.
Oh,
yes.
Where you don't have to say, I don't care if you go running to a sponsor. That doesn't bother me. I don't care if I get fired. I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm going to do this kind of stuff. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. But they don't. They just want to make sure they get you canceled first, and you lose your job, your platform, and everything else before they move on to the next victim.
I think some people are kind of going the other way now. I think there are some corporations or some sponsors that want someone to be their authentic self. They don't want someone on the microphone, even if they don't agree with the opinion. They want someone to be who they are, and let the public decide if they're if they're an asshole, if they like their opinion. The mighty dollar will usually speak on that. And I think some corporations more on the internet are saying, look, be who you are, and we'll sponsor you.
Well, I think that's why it's really important to find out how to navigate that minefield that is out there now as a personality and a talent. Because you should be opinionated. You should be unapologetic about your opinions. But you have to understand how to say things. And you'll see, for instance, back in the day, Adon Imus. You use a term and you go off for a 2-minute rant. No corporation can defend some of those things. So you as a talent have to know, okay, this, I can be as loud and as bright as I want, saying it this way and doing it this way. I do need to, though, be mindful of, you can't go off on what was his rant about the nappy-headed hose.
Yes.
And, dude, you go on a nappy-headed hoe rant, no corporation, nobody's going to stand by that one.
I mean, that was indefensible. I think he just got old and stopped giving a fuck.
I think so.
I think sometimes old people lose their filter of sensibility.
Right.
But I know what you're saying though, Kev. Trying to be edgy in a way to you can't piss off the people who are feeding.
You can't be ignorant. You can be edgy, but you can't be ignorant, and that's really what it is. So it's rare to find that talent because a lot of people are edgy and ignorant, and they don't last. And I will defend the old Howard Stern, where he was very intelligent and edgy, and he didn't step in it. Yeah, he would have FCC fines and things like that, but he still did it in a way that he could defend what he was doing, and people would still rally and support and pay for what he's doing. He didn't have a Don Imus moment.
He was intelligent about how he did it.
Stern, I'm not trying to turn this into a debate between Stern and Imus, but Stern did have some Imus moments. If you go back to the history of Stern, believe me.
He had the one blackface thing, and oddly enough, it didn't really come up and cause an issue.
But they have gone after Stern for a lot of racial stuff.
He didn't get canceled on the level that Imus did.
Imus did,
Imus,
they shut him down.
Imus stepped in a big mess.
But I think,
and it was indefensible.
But by the time, I guess what I'm saying is by the time Imus got fired, Stern had already made a major adjustment with what he was doing.
Stern did something that was actually brilliant. As he got older, he got more mellow, and he kind of adapted to the times, where Imus got older and got more stupid and crotchety and was just flying off the handle saying stupid shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of diehard Stern fans think that he became homogenized and that, Beth had him all pussy whipped and all these
wife,
like all that may be true, but he changed with the times and became more of a commercial product and made gazillions doing that for Sirius.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It all depends on what you want to do too. Stern, I don't think he wanted to be the edgy guy anymore.
He wanted to be soft. Well, I think his wife turned him that way.
I think Stern wanted to really morph into the interview, become the interview guy, which is that to me is a smart move for him because he's a great interviewer.
He reinvented himself as that guy
and got the America's Got Talent gig, and imagine that dude as a judge on America's Got Talent.
That turned off so many of his hardcore. That would be like, okay, our hardcore KVJ list. I'm just saying that would be Kevin coming in here. Kevin gets this new gig, the sports show, and all Kevin did for 30 minutes was talk about his new sports show. People who love our show be like, Kevin, that's great. Shut the fuck up. And that's what he would do with that a lot of times.
But he laughed all the way to the bank. Say what you will about, he broke the allegiance with the diehard fans. Yeah, maybe he did. But he broke it for hundreds of millions of dollars time and time again.
That's why I say it all depends on what you want. Do you want to stay true to your craft and to your fans, or do you want to go and laugh to the bank? It all depends on what you want to do.
I'm going to laugh to the bank.
Lily said, Riggy, answer the question, how much money each to walk? I've said this. I would, if you could just replace the salary I have now, that'd be where I'd think hard. I'd be okay with it. The one thing that the terrestrial radio broadcast signal does give you is there are some people that maybe can't find a podcast yet or don't know exactly where we are. And so it does give you a little bit more of the local level. And I do like being local, talking about South Florida, doing volunteer army projects and things like that. And that would be the only hesitance that I would have is, if we do a podcast, how much are we walking away from South Florida? Even though South Florida can still listen, does that kind of make a statement saying, all right, we're podcasters now, we're not a local radio show? And as long as we're still on the air, we're still a local radio show. But as far as that, you replace my salary, I'd walk tomorrow.
You mean your salary, that would be what you get every single year?
If my money doesn't change, yeah. My money just would come from a different source, yeah. I'm cool.
I still got some innings left in the ball game. I still love what I do, and I want to keep doing it.
I don't think he wants to stop doing it.
Not stop doing it.
He just wants to reinvent and go to podcasting.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Take this same brand, same show, same characters, same salaries, and do a podcast and just completely leave terrestrial radio behind, which I think is eventually going to happen.
So that deal coming right now. Kevin, sign it. You do it.
So for the same money?
Yep, same money.
Like I said, the only hesitation I'd have to think about, okay, I'm still holding on to the local angle. And that's what I'd have to really think through. I'm not sure that I'm ready. I don't know if I'll ever be ready to give that up because I love South Florida. I do. And I love the connection that you have. I love that personal part of radio. I love reading off birthdays. I like giving shout outs, which every big corporate radio person will tell you that is so stupid, man. That's not how you do radio. But I like that part of it. That's just something about me that I like.
They also told you not to read listeners' birthdays. And what do you say about that?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. We're reading birthdays.
So, anyway, that's to answer your questions there. Got some other emails here. People have sent in mail@kvjshow.com. This one from somebody who'd like to remain anonymous because they got some insider information on the Jupiter Heights lights scandal.
I love it. Give us the dirt.
This is my favorite.
This is the local stuff I love delivering. The Christmas lights in Jupiter Heights are well known, and I just wanted to share some information that was asked on Monday's show. If you live on a street with a theme like the hoops, the candy canes, the palm trees, and such, if you move away, you leave the decorations so the new owners can participate in the theme.
Ah, that's cool.
If you don't participate, yes, it looks bad, and the neighbors talk about you. Okay. Also, the flying Santa that Virginia was talking about has been a Heights staple for a very long time. It's one of the things that everybody talks about due to its popularity. This year, it has a brand new owner due to the original builder and owner currently being in prison.
Yeah, my girlfriend was explaining the scandal. So that Santa that is flying on this giant metal arm above the house, it looks like he's in the air. He's illuminated him, the reindeers. It's awesome. It used to be like 3 or 4 doors down, but that guy shot somebody on his doorstep, and there was a whole big scandal with that. And that guy is in jail, and they sold that house. And when they sold that house, his neighbor down the street, I think, bought the Santa with the reindeer or something.
So there's a story with that thing.
Yeah, it's got a history, and it's kind of awesome.
Yeah, she said here the original builder and creator is in prison due to having a standoff with the SWAT team for trying to kill his wife.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. It was a news story because my girlfriend was reminding me of it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Okay, there you go.
That's not very...
What a story.
What a story.
You could do a podcast just on the lights of
You could.
the Heights.
I love thinking the Heights. Everyone's just, you got to put the lights out. Now it's fucking curtains, baby.
Come on, do it.
Well, I've been listening to more podcasts now that the football season's kind of wrapping up. As I drive around and around Boca, I got to have something to listen to. And it is kind of interesting because they use dramatic theme music and things like that I could just see sitting down and telling the story of the lights of the Heights.
Oh, yeah. With that dramatic music, you can make ordering a sandwich sound very intense and creepy.
Yeah. Pretty fun. Also got Vanessa in Fort Lauderdale sent this on the show Monday. Kevin was reading letters that kids were sending to Santa in 1921, 100 years ago, and one of the kids asked Santa for a jigger, and Kevin said, what the heck is a jigger? I was almost even afraid to read it. I'm like, what is that? The term jigger in the sense is a small cup or a measure of spirits or wine. It originates in the U.S. in the early 19th century, many references from the 1800s. The jigger was invented in 1893, and in the early 19th century, the jigger came to be known as a portion of hooch, approximately 2.5 ounces, but the double-ended version we see today, which consists of 2 unequally sized conical vessels, was patented in Chicago in 1893 by inventor Cornelius Dungan. Just a little fun fact. So this kid was asking Santa for booze?
I think so. He wanted to get his drink on.
Olden times,
Wow.
bro.
A kid in 100 years ago is like, Santa.
I know it wasn't quite the Great Depression
How
yet.
about a jigger?
But that depression was on deck.
Give that kid a jigger.
Wow.
Olden times, it seemed like they struggled.
How about that?
Even if... I feel like everything was a struggle back then.
Yes.
If you didn't have air conditioning, things were a struggle.
Everything was a struggle. Breathing was a struggle.
You deserve a little Kahlua in your coffee.
I was weirded out to find out how late air conditioning was invented. pretty fucking late.
When?
I want to say wasn't that like the 50s?
Damn.
40? I don't know. Now you called me out. I gotta look it up. Damn it, Virginia. I'm gonna be wrong. It's gonna be very public. When was
1902.
My plan worked perfectly.
1902, but I don't think everyone could afford it yet. I think it was mainstay right around the 30s.
Invented in 1902, and everybody could afford it.
That's not
By
what
1903.
That's not what it says.
Every motherfucker had
It's
it.
right here. Right here in print. 1902, and people couldn't believe how affordable it was.
Like, wow, we all have it now. We're good.
It was the most prevalent thing at the time.
Okay. And somebody said yes, just to let you know on the Heights story, the old owner of the Santa is my mother-in-law.
Oh.
And he did not try to kill her. Yes, he had a gun, but he did not try to kill her. Okay. So there we go. We'll put that in the true crime podcast about the Lights of the Heights.
He tried to kill her. Damn.
No,
I don't think he
no,
did.
He
He
didn't,
did
no.
not try to kill
You're
her.
just going back to what I just corrected.
Well, then why is he in jail then?
I think he got into a shootout with the SWAT. Mm-hmm. I think he shot through his door, was how it was told to me. But
So they thought he was doing something to his wife.
he wouldn't come out. He created like a hostage situation, was what I was told.
Yeah.
There's more to this story, and I'm going to find the details.
It's probably in the Palm Beach Post.
Oh, that's why I'm going to find them.
Ashley sent an email and said, yeah, I heard you guys talking about the true crime documentaries and using the listening audience to help provide manpower to the podcast. Yeah, that was something that was referenced. I'm watching the new season of Dexter, New Blood, and they've now got a true crime podcaster on there. And she said that she has 800,000 true detectives that listen to her podcast that are trying to do all the research for her. I was like, that's kind of smart. She's like, I got an army of investigators. And she said, yeah, you should check out the scripted Hulu show, Only Murders in the Building, which is based on this exact premise. It's got Steve Martin, Martin Sheen, and Selena Gomez. Is a very well done show. I've seen the previews on that.
Yes, I have too. Mm-hmm. It sounds kind of like it's goofy murder. And I kind
Yeah.
of like my murder serious, Kev.
Yeah, it looked like it was sitcom.
It's
around
goofy murder.
Ha ha ha. Yeah. Oh, look out, he's dead.
Whoa, he slipped on a banana peel. Stab him.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So there you go. All right. Well, great emails. Appreciate all of your input here today. You can.
Man, it's over.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, this part's only 30 minutes. And yeah, if we did do this thing full time, you get the regular amount of KVJ, more than 30 minutes.
Oh, we would not
Just
skimp.
saying.
There
Yeah.
would be no skimping on you.
And
Yeah.
a programming note, Weird and Whatever, tonight, 6 p.m., KVJ
Okay.
YouTube page.
Good stuff.
Would love to have you.
We
Okay.
also want to thank our amazing vodka sponsor, Atoll Vodka. You can find it at Singer Island Liquors. You can find it at Liquor Delight in Tequesta. Or you can go online and order it for yourself. mashandgrape.com.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.